Workshops 4 and 9 are titled Great Grains. So to prepare for the workshop, make sure you read the lesson in your teacher folder in the mentor manual. So these are going to be on pages 7 and 8. So go through that, go through your teacher manual and the worksheets and make sure you're familiar with the activities. And then you're going to collect everything and put it in the bag. And again, arrange the room, put the sign out sheets and pencils out. And then when the students come in, pass out the ShapeUp folders to the high school students and the student workbooks to the elementary school students. And then the first 10 minutes will be the pre-workshop connection with your mentor. Once that's over, you're going to go through the lesson with them. So the lesson's going to focus on grains and talk about what are grains, the three parts of a grain, and the difference of whole grains and refined grains, and then how to find whole grains in the store. It's also going to focus on eating out at restaurants, so learning how to order at a restaurant in order to make the healthiest choices. It also talks a little bit about the calorie counts and how they can use those on the menus at restaurants. So once you're done with the lesson, make sure you ask them some questions so they can win some raffle tickets. The first activity you're going to do is sanding rice. So you're going to pass these out to each of the tables. Each table group is going to get a little baggie, and inside the baggie is a little container with whole grain rice and a whole bunch of little pieces of sandpaper. And what they're going to do is each student will take one piece of rice and 2 pieces of sandpaper, and they're going to sand the grain of rice and see what happens to it when the bran comes off the outside. And they're going to, in their student workbook, they have a worksheet for this. It's called Sanding Rice. And after they sand it, they're going to write just a short little paragraph saying what happened to the rice when they sanded it and how that can affect our health when we eat that rice. So that's the first activity. And they can share their answers that they wrote in order to win more raffle tickets. The second activity is make a grain riddle. So students will turn to page 7 in their workbook, and you can go over the sample riddles in here with them to give them an example of what it's going to be. But what they'll do is choose any food from the grains group, and they can use, there's a bunch listed here to help them, and just some nutrient information to help them. And they're going to create a riddle. So they'll work in their groups, so each group will create a riddle. They don't each have to do it individually. So they'll work together to do this. And this takes some time, and the mentors, this is a great opportunity for mentors to help, especially when it's workshop 8 or workshop 9, because the elementary school students have a little more difficulty. So this is where the high school students can really help them. Once everyone's done making their riddle, they can either come up as a group to the front of the classroom or send one volunteer up to the front and read their riddle and have the whole class try to guess what the answer is. So this is a really fun activity, and if just each individual person comes up to say the riddle, then whoever comes up can get a raffle ticket. Otherwise, if the whole group comes up, then you can give them or not. Okay, so once the activities are over, they'll do the post-workshop connection with the mentor. Then you're going to collect all the ShapeUp folders. And there's a couple things that are different about this workshop. So in workshop 4, once you collect the food and activity logs and pass out the new ones for the next week, you're also going to pass out a worksheet called Students Teaching Parents. And you're going to want to explain this to the students. They're going to get the worksheet, which looks like this. So it's a worksheet with 3 questions on it, and they're also going to get an activity or eating book. And this, we have 20 in English and 20 in Spanish, so they can say which one their parents would prefer. They're going to take the workbook home to their parents and have their parents read it. They can go over it with them. And then the student is going to teach their parent what they've learned in the ShapeUp program so far. And then using that information, they're going to together answer the questions on the Students Teaching Parents worksheet. The worksheet is in English on one side and Spanish on the other, so however they prefer to answer it. And then they're going to bring that back at Workshop 5. So at Workshop 4, the high school students are going to get this. At Workshop 9, the elementary school students are going to get the worksheet and the booklets for their parents. So make sure you explain that to the students and really encourage them to bring the students teaching parents workbooks or worksheets back, because that will get them into a raffle at culmination. That's it, the only different thing for Workshop 4, but for Workshop 9, there's an additional thing that the students are going to do. So for all the high school students, they're going to get 2 worksheets at the very end of the lesson. They're going to get a worksheet full of prompts and then another sheet where they're going to answer these prompts. So they can choose 3 prompts from the worksheet, and all it is asking them, you know, what has the ShapeUp program done for you? So at Workshop 9, they're going to answer 3 of the prompts and write out their answers on the worksheet. And then they're going to turn that in at Workshop 9. The elementary school students at the same time are going to get their own sheet, but there's only 3 questions on the sheet, and they'll just answer them on that sheet. So that'll take about 10 minutes. The students will fill those out and turn them into you at Workshop 9. Once that's done, the elementary school students are excused to go, and you'll do the raffle. Oh, you'll do the raffle with both of them, then the elementary school students can go. And then you can do the mentor debriefing. And then once the workshop's over, you'll input all of the usual information. The only additional thing is after Workshop 9, you're going to go through all of the responses that students wrote out during Workshop 9, and you're going to choose the 10 best from the high school students and the 10 best from the elementary school students, and you're going to input those into Google Docs. And you're also going to then choose the best 3 from each of the grade groups and ask them at Workshop 10, ask them if they would mind speaking about what they learned at culmination. So that's about it for Workshops 4 and 9. Have fun.